Welcome back to the Trades Growth Blueprint. I'm Nathan, and today we're going to be going over how to integrate ServiceTitan with GoHighLevel using Zapier. Now, if you haven't watched my video on how to connect ServiceTitan and Zapier, check out that link in the description below. That is step 1. This is essentially step 2, which is connecting Zapier and GoHighLevel, which will allow you so that whenever a job is posted complete or a trigger is performed in ServiceTitan, it will automatically take an action within GoHighLevel. I also have a link in the description below for the affiliate link that'll give you a free trial for GoHighLevel. And this is what I use. This is what I prefer for all of my automations for my HVAC businesses. So check that out. Let's get onto the screen share and let's see what we got to do. Okay, so here I'm going to assume that you've already integrated ServiceTitan and Zapier. And if you haven't done so, like I mentioned, check the link in the description below for that other video that I put together that walks you through a step-by-step of exactly how to integrate ServiceTitan and Zapier so you can get to this point. Now, when you get to this point, you want to create a new trigger. Well, first create a new Zap, okay? And then you're going to create a new trigger. And you'll want to select the app here, okay? You select ServiceTitan, and then you want to create the trigger event, okay? So once you've selected the app of ServiceTitan, you want to create the trigger event. Now, in this case, I'm going to show you here my review request, my Zap that I use for whenever a job is posted complete. It'll automatically add that customer to a workflow within GoHighLevel that will send out a review request, a feedback request. And based on the different things, it'll pretty much ask them for a review, right? So, but this is, okay, how do we select who is going to be added to that workflow? So backing up here, so we're creating the trigger, okay? So when this happens, then other actions will happen. So the trigger is that first, right? The cause, not the reaction, but this is the action that causes that reaction. So the trigger event is a new job, okay? So when a new job is booked, let's configure it, okay? So here's what you do here. In this case, I have it separated by business unit, okay? So you can do that. You don't have to. But I have a date here, right? So if it's completed on or after November 13th, 2025, it's going to cause these actions, okay? It's going to be triggered once it's posted complete. If it meets these other criteria that I have listed here, then it's going to proceed. I do like to use a lot of tags. So I do have it based on tags. And the way I do it is I select all the tags that I want to be included, and then the tags that I don't want to be included, I will just leave them off here, and that's how I determine who to eliminate from those that will be on this workflow. Okay, so that's how I do it. Then you can test it along the way. You definitely, I like to use the job status of completed, like I said, because that's pretty much, you do the job status plus the date, and that will give you your criteria. And then you can test it. So you can run it through the test to see what jobs it pulls based on the configuration you put in there. So after you grab that information on the trigger, then this is where you take that data and you manipulate it so that it fits the mold of GoHighLevel, so it can be properly sent over to GoHighLevel, okay? So now what I have it do is I have it search the customer ID, okay? And it pulls this. If you hit plus, you can pull from values of the previous, in this case, the trigger, okay? So I have it pull the customer ID. And then, so it pulls the customer ID and it's going to search, okay? It searches the customer contacts, okay? And because it doesn't pull all the data that I want it to with that, I also do a search of the customer itself. So I do that same thing with the customer ID. And these you have to pick the action event, okay? Now there's plenty to choose from. And again, it's all about manipulating the data that's pulled in that initial trigger. So that trigger will dictate what you can do and what information you can grab for sending to GoHighLevel or any other app that's integrated within Zapier. Again, search customer contacts, and that's an action, okay? And then I search the customer, and then I use these formatters, right? So the setup here, okay, it's going to grab text, and then it's going to, like I selected the customer contacts from, you can click this arrow and it'll show you the drop down, and then you can select what you want to do. Now this is to extract the phone number. Okay, you can do a number of things here. You can extract a phone number, you can extract a URL. Here you can split the text. There's a lot that you can do. Now in this case I want to extract the phone number because in order to send it to GoHighLevel, it needs to be a phone number. It can't be in the same field as an email. It can't be in the same field as a name. It has to be a phone number. Okay, and you can select the format down here. Now I just do universal 1, and then that'll pretty much give me what I'm looking for. And then you can test it and make sure it works the way it ought to. And the output should be just a phone number. And if there's a comma or something like that, it's not going to be a big deal, but you definitely want it to be the phone number. Okay, so that's what I do here. I use this formatter by Zapier. And if you hit plus, you can add a step here just so I can show you what that looks like. So you'd select formatter, right? And then you would select, okay, what I want to do, text. I'm just showing you what I did here for step 4 to extract that phone number. Okay, it's just so you couldn't put that in. And you hit continue. Now in this case, right, because I want to extract a phone number, so you select that, and then this will populate, and you can pull the other value from from a previous action, and you can select the format and test it out. Okay, I'm going to delete this because I already have it on here. So we extracted the phone number. Now an email, right? So we'll add this step. We'll use the formatter and text, configure, and we want to pull that value. And again, whatever is in this input, you need to make sure that contains what you're trying to extract, because if it doesn't, if you're trying to extract an email address and that doesn't contain an email address, you're not going to get an email address. Not to state the obvious here, guys. But for transform here, you want to make sure you choose the extract email address, select the input that's going to have that email address in it. You can go ahead and test it, and it should give you what you're looking for. If it doesn't, you may need to manipulate the data. But again, make sure that whatever the input you're putting in here, make sure that has somewhere in there has what you're trying to extract from it. So that's how you grab the email. And this is something kind of specific to my process and what we do. So you may not even have to do this. Okay, it just depends on how you put it into ServiceTitan. Okay, so these are all the actions. This is going to give me all the information that I need, right, to send over to GoHighLevel. Now I need to add in the final step, which is connecting it with GoHighLevel. Now, GoHighLevel is also known as lead connector. So you can search it, or in this case, it's right here for me. So I'm going to select it, and I need to choose an event. Okay, now I want to add lead to a workflow. A workflow in GoHighLevel is essentially a funnel, right? So it's going to be where if they're added to that workflow, they'll get a message or a text or an email or whatever. And then there'll be subsequent steps that they'll be added into. And I'll explain it more in depth once I put that video up, but just stay tuned for that. So we're going to add them to the workflow, and we need to make sure we select the account. Okay, so the way I already have a couple in here, but what you're going to do is connect a new account. Okay. Now all you'll have to do here is just log in. So you'll click login, and it'll automatically take you to it. It's super simple, super easy. So you'll log in. In this case, I'll just select this one because I already have it connected. Perfect. Okay, so you have it selected. You have the action event, add lead to workflow. Now you can do different things. When you create different zaps, you can add or update a contact. You can stop all workflows for the lead, which is essentially all communication. So just something to consider. But in this case, we're going to add a lead to workflow. And then we're going to configure. Okay, so we need to select the workflow. Okay, in this case, I'm going to select review request. I already have it created. If you haven't already created a workflow within GoHighLevel, you obviously won't have anything listed here. So you want to make sure you create that and you publish it. So it's an active live workflow, or else it's not going to show up here. Okay. Now you need to put in all the information. So this is where you pull the data from these things that you've put together. Okay. So where you extract the phone number, where you extract the email, you need to assign where those outputs are going to be put in this workflow, in this adding the lead, right? You need to select where that's going to be. So the phone number, I need to put, okay, whatever the output was of, I think that was number 4, right? So I need to go here and I need to go to number 4 and I need to select that output. So you hit the drop down and you select that output. Okay, same thing with the email, same thing with the name. And then once you get all those in there, you can go ahead and hit continue. Okay, and then you can test it. And then it will, once you hit test, it'll automatically send it to GoHighLevel. So at that point, if it was successful, which it will tell you, hey, a contact was added or was sent to lead connector such and such seconds ago. Okay, then you can go to your GoHighLevel account and you can test and you can look at the contacts and see if that was indeed sent over. Which if it says it was successful in Zapier, it was successful and it's over there. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, definitely drop them in the comments below. And again, let me know if you have any requests on specific things or issues you're encountering, and I can do a tutorial video on that so we can help you guys with these automations. This is a total game changer, okay? If you can automate the review requests and make it so it's actually a personalized experience, you will gain so many Google reviews, and whatever platform you're trying to get reviews, you will gain so many. And as we know, that really drives business, that drives phone calls, that drives revenue. The top line, the bottom line, it all starts with phone calls and word of mouth reviews. That's where it's at, what it's all about. So see you next time.